Hello everybody, Big Planes here, and today I have an exciting update for you on the American Airlines DC-10. Now, before I get into this update, I'd like to give a shout out and a thanks to all of my patrons who are supporting the channel over on Patreon. Thank you to everybody who helps support the channel over on Patreon. You guys are one of the main reasons why I'm even able to build these planes. So yes, I have an update for you on the American Airlines DC-10-10. There is a difference there. And this update isn't as large as the last one, but it is important, and I thought I would give you an update before I move on to the next part of the build. So, the main thing you're going to notice now is that this plane has been flipped over. I no longer have it on its back. This is the correct position with the fuselage facing up, and the big things that you will notice is that the engines are on. Yes, the engines. And these aren't just any ordinary engines. These are actually motorized engines, so I will of course show you how that works in a second here. But yes, I got both the engines on and the plane is standing on its own landing gear. So this is exciting. This is an important milestone. Again, not the biggest milestone, but it is a very important milestone because it demonstrates that, one, the landing gear height is correct, and two, the landing gear, at least at this point in the process, can actually support the weight of the plane. Now, obviously, as the plane gets larger, the plane will get heavier, and the landing gear will strain more, but as of right now, the landing gear are able to support the weight of the model. So yes, that's very exciting, and obviously the big news for this video is that I have completed both of the wing-mounted engines. Now obviously this is a DC-10, so there will be a third engine mounted in the tail, the number 2 engine, but right now I have the number 1 and number 3 engines installed, and I'm pretty happy actually with how these turned out. Those of you who have been following the channel for a while may recognize this design a little bit from the Air Force One design, the 747, from all the way back in the day. It's a very similar design. It is not exactly the same. They are different. They had to be different because the dimensions for these engines are different. Let's see if this camera can focus. Ooh, there we go. Yeah, so the dimensions for these engines are different. They are longer. I actually integrated the sides in a little better. There's actually, believe this or not, I'm going to get over here a little bit better lighting. Believe it or not, these parts here for the sides of the engines, get a little closer here. This one's not focusing. We'll look at this engine. Here we go. So these parts for the sides of the engines here, believe this or not, are actually more available in metallic silver than they were in light aqua. So for once, metallic silver has more part color options than other colors, so that was very useful, and I got very lucky that all the parts that I needed to make these engines existed. So enough talking, I will show you now actually how this works. This uses the older power functions system, and much like my other planes, it basically has an IR receiver down here, and then when you turn this, it turns the engines. So right now, it's a little hard to see because I do not have a spinner cone on the engines. That will be added later. I just haven't gotten around to putting a spinner cone on yet. But yes, the engines are motorized, and I feel like I did a pretty good job this time with, again, I'm sorry about the shaky camera. I'm gotta get down on my knees here. But you can actually barely see the cable running up. I feel like I did a better job this time integrating the cable into the wing than I have done in past iterations of my models, so that is good. I'm gonna turn these off since they're kind of making a little bit of noise. But yes, the cable has been integrated in. Everything's good to go, and the landing lights are in. The rotating beacon lights are in, or is that the strobe? I don't know. I always lose track of those two. So yes, the engines are in, and in addition to the engines, so the engines are the main update here. But in addition to that, I have also done some work on other parts of the plane. So I'm not building the tail right now. In fact, the tail will be probably one of the last things to get built. But I have gone ahead and actually come up with a design for the tail fin, because parts in metallic silver, especially bricks and slopes, are very, very rare. And the slope combinations that would be needed to make this in a more conventional manner do not exist. So this is the design that I came up with for the DC-10, because I wanted it to be all made out of authentic Lego silver pieces. So this is what I came up with, and I'm pretty happy with it actually. There's no working rudder, and the main reason behind that is just at the scale we're working with here, if I tried to incorporate a working rudder, I would have ended up with a massive gap running down the side here, which I didn't really want. I tend to prefer the display aesthetics over the minor functionality of having a rudder. So yes, this is what I've come up with for the tail. I'm pretty happy with it, and I just thought I would knock this out right now because this is something that is very important because, again, due to the limitations of metallic silver, sometimes you are unable, or I'd be unable to actually build this the way I wanted because those parts just don't exist. Like a lot of the parts that I would use for even bricks, the only brick that exists in metallic silver is a 1x8 brick, and you can in fact see a lot of them right here in the back. That's it. There's no 1x2s, no 1x1s. If I want to do anything else, I have to stack a bunch of the 1x1 plates on top of each other, so that's obviously not very efficient. So yes, and alright, so the fuselage, this will be the next thing I talk about, and this is a little bit embarrassing for me because I had initially intended on using the same design for the fuselage that I used on the 777, on the 747, etc. I wanted to use the same design because it's a very well thought out design. It works very well, it's very sturdy, it looks good, so I just thought, well, I'll just use that here. And so I went ahead and I made the fuselage 20 studs wide, which is pretty close to accurate for what the DC-10 should be. It's about 19.5 feet, but I just rounded up to 20 because it's just easier to work with than 19 studs. But I got all the way to this point, and then I realized that the 777, or I'm sorry, the 747 fuselage is 22 studs wide, not 20. So that kind of screwed everything up because I cannot narrow that fuselage design by 2 studs. So I basically started from scratch and I came up with a new design, which at the end of the day, this is probably good anyway because this one looks even better in my opinion. But this is the new design I came up with. If the camera will focus, there we go. New design. You can see it's very similar to the old one. It hinges panels and curved slopes. And again, I want to make sure the radius lines up very nicely. You can see the curve there lines up almost perfectly. So I'm very happy with how this design came out. It's exactly 20 studs in width. Perfect. So this will be used on the top and on the bottom. I don't have the silver curve slopes needed right now to build the fuselage, although those should be coming in soon. But this is the new design. It's very sturdy, very strong. So I'm very happy with how that turned out. So that's just some other stuff I've been working on in regards to the DC-10. The next update should be on completing the wing. So I'm hoping the next video I'll have for you, probably in about a week, will be on the completed wing. And at that point, I will be working my way forward. In fact, you can already see I've pulled out the nose, the blueprint for the nose here. So yes, the next update past the wing will be me working my way forward. So again, exciting, a lot of progress will come in the next few days to a week or so, and I'm looking forward to bringing it to you here on this channel. So if you haven't hit subscribe, please be sure to hit subscribe. I can tell from my end that most people who watch these videos aren't subscribed, so if you haven't hit subscribe, it helps the channel a lot. If you do, these videos can get a little more reach. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will be bringing you some more like it very soon. That's it for this one, and bye for now.